Mrs. Ritter got interested in pottery. And when she got interested in pottery, she did a variety of things. You could buy these tiles already made, and then there'd be glazes. And so she did some of these things. Some of them she thought looked like water, and she thought they had a vineyard appearance. So she made some of these, and she sold them. And then she got into, this is another one of hers, and then she got into buying the tiles and decorating them. She had a sort of a very primitive way about her. She stayed, Elaine Merrill, her sister, owned a house in Lobsterville, and so a lot of these were inspired by that particular area. And this is one of the tiles, round tiles, that she did, showing some of the things in that area. This is another round one, showing some of the little boats together in the harbor. And then this is another one showing some funny little, like what she thought that some of the lobster shacks looked like in Lobsterville at one time. So she did those. Then she found out that you could do molds, and so she found a mold, and she made these little mugs, and she always had the vineyard in mind, and so that's why the grapes here to represent Martha's Vineyard. And she also did some little plates like this, and they were started. They weren't made in a mold, but she made them to work they're very simple things, and she just did the clay. And again, they make a unit, two together. At one point, she got interested in different people, and there was a teacher that worked with her husband, and her name was Lena McCoy. And this was in the late 30s, early 40s. And Lena was very flamboyant. And this is very typical of Lena going out in the evening sometime if she had a date. And she had one of the first page boys. She had one of the first page boys. But she always liked the brilliant colors. And in the summertime, she was hired to run the Art Workers Guild, as a shopkeeper for that. And it went from Lodge Shoe Store down to a house called the Packer House, the Daggett House, which was on the corner of Beach Road and Water Street. It's the building that Ralph Parker moved over to his lot. But that was also known as the Art Workers Guild for many, many years. But Lena was a teacher, high school teacher, and she taught French and Latin. And a lot of older people remember her, and she was always very well made up and very well put together. But that's Lena. At the same time, there was a man, he came from New York. His name was Percy Chase Miller. And Percy Chase Miller had worked as a choir director and an organist for a big church in New York City. And he came to retire here. He always wore a corduroy suit. This is his corduroy suit. And he started a men's glee club on Martha's Vineyard, and a lot of them, it was mainly people from Vineyard Haven that were in the chorus. There was Donald Tilton, who was head of a lumber company. There was Curtis Athen, who worked for SBS. There was Ray Chipman, who was, I forgot what Ray did. There was Franklin Baptist, who worked for the Manta Garage. I was in the chorus. A man by the name of George Golat, he was in it. There were several people in it, and they had Doris Davy, who was a piano player, and we put on a concert once a year to raise money to buy more music for our glee club, but it was interesting.